Hello, everyone. I am Sam Eckmann of Gold Derby here with a marvelous combined songwriting team behind Which of the Pickwick Triplets Did It? From Only Murders in the Building, we have Benj Pasek, Justin Paul, Marc Shaiman, and Scott Wittman all together. And when you first all got together for this song, did it ever feel like there were too many ideas being thrown around? How did this process differ from your normal songwriting process with just your usual songwriting partner?
It was more
It was,
fun.
and it was, it was a song that called out for, as much writing and as many words as possible. So having the four of us made it easy. Well,
So
not
many
easy.
times, so much murder. We needed all the help we could get.
Yeah, it really was one of those more is more kind of songs, it feels like. So we all had a blast, and we didn't know exactly how it would work. This was our first time collaborating, this group of people, but we knew we wanted to give it a try.
Some were
And
more suspicious than others, I'll say.
some were more. We're not going to name.
Some came in with optimism, and others came in with suspicion. But I think we all left, singing "Kumbaya" and hopefully wanting to collaborate on more things.
I've never heard, what was that moment where you guys said, let's invite other people in on this? I mean, how did that happen? Now I'm the interviewer.
Yeah.
Take it away, Mark.
Yeah, Sam, do we have your permission to answer that? I want to be. Yeah,
Go for it, please.
Stick
Yes.
to the Gold Derby rules, of course. I think we when we started working with John Hoffman and went into the writers' room, just the ambition of the project. It seemed, we heard the insane cast that they had recruited. Meryl Streep and Paul Rudd, and obviously the main players of the show, and they wanted to create a full musical. And so it felt like to us, what an amazing opportunity to get to work with people that we love and bring in a couple of other voices to help shape a score. And we had been sort of playing around with the idea of, obviously with TV, there's writers' rooms that exist. And on two movies that we worked on, we kind of created mini musical theater writers' rooms with some writers. And we thought, gosh, it would be really, really fun to do that on Only Murders and bring some of the best of Broadway to this incredible show with these incredible performers. And so Mark and Scott were obviously at the top of our list of people that we would die to work with, and they said yes. I don't think it was because of us. I think it was more because of dangling the likes of Steve Martin and Meryl Streep and all, and a hit TV show. But we're glad that they finally relented.
No, it was because of them.
Okay.
Marty and Meryl and stuff. We'd seen.
Yeah, they've been there. They've been there, done that.
That's true.
That is true. But I'll say it was very special for us because way back a decade ago or more, the very first job that we ever got related at all to TV or film or Hollywood or anything like that was getting the chance to submit a demo of a song to be songwriters for season 2 of a little TV show called Smash. And it was these two gentlemen on this Zoom who were the arbiters of who got to write the songs for the other musical that wasn't Bombshell in Smash, which was called Hit List. And these two guys gave us our very first job on TV. So when we had the chance to ask some other writers in, we just thought it would be the coolest thing for us to all work together. And so we called them up, and they were like, we don't know what that looks like, but sure, we're interested. And we were like, we don't know what it looks like either, but we're a team and you're a team, and let's see if the two teams can mash together and come up with something.
Yeah.
It shows how different we are because these guys are so generous and open. Scott and I can barely stand to get in the room together, just the two of us. So,
but then I thought 4 people, not more people to take the blame. That's what I thought.
yeah.
True.
Well, you might have needed all 4 of those people because this is like the patter song to end all patter songs, really. You may all get a cease and desist from my husband because I've been attempting poorly to get all the words right ever since it came out. what is the tweaking process? How long does it get to fit all those lyrics in and get them to scan properly?
I
Well,
mean, go ahead,
Is it
Scott.
is it obnoxious to say the four of us love this kind of shit? We love it. So I can only speak for myself. I can't tie my shoelaces. I can't make a plan. I can't do anything. But to sit in a room
can't
and
smile.
come up with lyrics, you know, and figuring out inner rhymes and alliteration, and that is just like mother's milk. I mean, it's just the greatest. So to do with three other people who love to do it, this that's a horrible way of saying that. It was almost easy, but because it's what the four of us were born to do this.
Yeah, no, we really loved it, and it was like it was basically the four of us get in a room, open up a Google Doc, so we were all working in the same document, right? So we could see in real time what everybody was working on, and it was this. It was okay. Let's all just sit down and start coming up with rhymes and couplets that are what's at the intersection of like baby, toddler, infant terminology intersecting with murder or crime, investigation terminology. So what are those rhymes? What's the overlap Venn diagram of that? And then let's throw in as much alliteration as possible, as much interior rhyme as possible. So it was this fabulous puzzle that we all got to start to put together, and also complete, sort of toppling one on top of the other. I would see something that Scott was putting together, I would jump on that, and Benj would we started to complete the rhymes and the schemes for each other, and it was this sort of this beautiful, fun, zany process of just creating this thing together.
Yeah, just to say, because when you're working on a Google Doc in real time, like one person can't even take credit for one line, because someone would come up with an end rhyme and then someone would be like, oh, you know what, if you put this word right before it, it becomes alliterative. And then someone would be like, oh, but you know what, actually, if you put one more word before that word, we get an internal rhyme. So all of us sort of touched on every element of the song in really fun ways, and in a way that it's really hard to divorce who wrote what or who came up with what, because it was really this process that everyone had their hands in the honey jar the entire time.
I think we should create a board game. So do it at home.
yeah.
Like musical theater Mad Libs.
Yes.
For songwriting.
Anagram.
Totally.
Well, you talked about the lyrics, but I think each pair here has a style that you're probably known for. What was it like meshing those? Did you have to kind of throw away, your normal inclinations? What were you searching for style-wise?
We had such a clear directive from John Hoffman. I mean, he was very specific about the characters of each of the children and what the song had to deliver, and how it had to grow over the season, because with Steve trying to learn it. And so there were those directives. And also with these songs, the trick is you could put a whole mash of words together, but if they're not singable, and it just sounds like mush. So it was it was fun in that way, because we knew it had to come out of Steve's mouth at the end. And so that was sort of a great treat.
Yeah, and I think the other assignment here was the great thing is that like the goal for us as writers and particularly as composers was to become invisible, because these songs ultimately were meant to be written by the great fabulist Oliver Putnam, right? So we sort of become invisible in that process, and the goal is what would Oliver write, and also what can be really fun and zany, and what's a great tour de force performance moment for Steve and for the character of Charles. But I think it was all sort of informed by the sonic palette of the show, and the sonic palette of the musical within the show, Death Rattle Dazzle, but also we were sort of guided by what kind of sound would come out of Oliver Putnam, that character and the musicals that he probably loved and the world that he's operated in. So we're really always driven by character and story and following that.
Yeah. What was that process of handing it over to Steve? Did he have as much difficulty with it as his character did?
Well, Ian. I mean, these guys have a musical director partner, music producer, Ian Eisendrath.
Yeah.
Who
I don't call I call him Henry Higgins. I don't call him Evil Ian, but they
I think Steve and Marty call him Evil Ian, but he is painstakingly specific as he rehearses, and so I believe he did most of the rehearsal with, right? I mean, we made plunks and kind of plunk tapes for rehearsing, but and this kind of song really required that kind of specificity.
Yeah.
And Steve was amazingly gracious about that. Like sometimes Ian was like, try this, try this, try that, and I was like, wow, you don't tell a star like give line readings. But these guys never heard that motto, and which I was like, oh, who knew? I want to redo my entire career now. Because they're just Ian and these two guys are just constantly talking. Well, say it like this. How about like this? How about like that? And Steve was just like, oh, okay, and we just tried them all. We recorded to a track when it could be in tempo. Otherwise, like I was at the keyboard to be able to follow Steve so that he could, take it slow or fast or fumfer and start up again. And God bless Ian and I who else like put it together.
Yeah.
Because Steve was just recording and recording.
It was like a real sort of quilt work of many, many, many takes that were all put together, and then ultimately, what's in the episode is a mix of some live from the filming, along with some of the studio work as well. But Steve was incredible. I think the quote that Steve gave was sort of like, "Guys, I love the song. I'm thrilled to be done with it." Which just makes sense. Understood.
You mentioned, the kind of Mad Libs game you're playing with the lyrics. Did you come up with so many that there are lines that lyrics that got cut? Is there an extended edition of the song out there that Steve might have to learn one day?
I'm sure that there's a graveyard at the bottom of every Google Doc with, all of the all of the murdered darlings, literally.
One day you'll be able to go to some library and look up there are the papers.
At a certain point, though, right? We have to stop, and so that at a certain point pencils down. But yeah, we really were we just kept coming up with ideas, and honestly, it was that whatever rhymes or whatever tangents made the group laugh the most would make it in, and whatever sort of didn't get each other howling probably ended up in the graveyard. So it was really just we were each other's barometer as to what would make it in.
We were good audiences, yes.
Yeah,
but everyone here is also very opinionated, so like no one has any trouble saying, what hell,
we're all very strong-willed. We all interrupt each other lovingly. We call it, Jews call it cooperative overlapping. Do you know this, Mark?
I know the idea of it. I never heard the term. Yeah,
the term, right, is like, instead, like British people would never do that because it's rude, but Jews, which represents half of this songwriting group, is cooperative overlapping is like, it means that we love you because we're so excited by the idea that we're going to interrupt you to tell you the next thing that we think. So a lot of cooperative overlapping happens.
Yeah, but I do think it does reflect, as I said, as we've all said, we were sort of like coming into this, like, how's it going to work? But like, I think there is such mutual love and respect and therefore trust in this group that we did quickly find that we have all the same instincts, and we understand why certain things work and they don't work, and why you can rhyme this and can't rhyme that, and why something feels weird and scansion or prosody, whatever. So I think we therefore felt very trusting and ready to then say, we can do better, or we can beat that, or let's push back on that. And that's a beautiful sort of comfort to have. And honestly, Benj and I were talking about this the other day with someone. It's like, it's such a blessing and so great to have like some time in the room with another team where you realize that, like, at the end of the day, every writer is kind of facing the same things, and you go through the same issues, and you have the same blocks, and the same things drive you crazy. And it's just like a kind of amazing, beautiful moment of feeling known and seen, and in a somewhat lonely occupation, it's like an amazing moment of recognition.
Yeah, and we all
because
we love perfect rhymes and inner rhymes and all of that, and the craft of all that, and so that's what makes it one. Plus, Justin has his own Von Trapp family, so when anything about diapers and pacifiers, well, got it all in there.
Yes.
Well, I think there's such great payoff to this song too, because we get it in little chunks as he struggles with it before we get this full presentation of like the whole 3-minute number, which is pretty rare for TV. Did any of you get to be on set for that moment, and what was it like to see it, the final product?
I did. I hid in the back with Merrill and Marty because they had been wrapped. Everyone had basically been wrapped, and Steve did it in a few takes and very quickly, but everyone stayed to watch him on that big giant theater in Washington Heights.
Yes.
And I forget why, but I know, Benj, you've talked about it. They had, they were supposed to take a long time to film this number. It was so important. But as things happen every day at filming, the day kept getting longer and longer. And so Steve actually had like a much smaller window at the end of the night. I had to leave. I forget why. I was like, I can't believe I sat here all day and now I have to leave. But he nailed it.
It was supposed to be like a half a day or 3/4 of the day to film just Pickwick, and it got 2 hours. Like it was supposed to be most of that day of filming, and the week kept getting backed up, and they had the venue for 2 hours to shoot the whole thing.
But
and
we were
sure, we were sure they were like, well, they're gonna we were getting texts in real-time updates. We're like, I'm sure they're gonna just push it. They're not gonna just like shortchange that. They can't do that. And they're like, oh no, they're gonna shoot it. And we were like, okay. And then we were like, well, good luck, guys. It's going to go terribly, and then they were like, it went amazing. And Steve pulled it off. And he's incredible. And, created a really, an iconic performance, we think.
Not one bead of sweat. Did he?
Scott and I, speaking of Marty and Steve, Marty Short used to throw like the ultimate old school Hollywood Christmas parties, literally like a Judy Garland TV special where he would get up on the piano. He would make me push the piano out so that it looked like I was desperate, which is true. And then he would perform and invite anyone who wanted to perform. And one Christmas, Steve Martin got up and out of nowhere said, I'm going to sing or perform the opening number of The Music Man. The whole, what do you talk? So, and there he did in the middle of Marty Short's living room one Christmas. Right. So we kind of knew, Steve Martin is going to nail this.
I think Kenny G or Bernadette Peters followed him. I can't remember.
Because from the back, they look exactly like,
That's amazing. Before I have to let you all go, because you all like playing with the lyrics here, everyone round robin, just what is your favorite Pickwick lyrical rhyme?
I love the fact that the word triptych got in there.
Yeah.
Apocalyptic. Yeah. And that was essence of Google Doc. Like someone said triptych and we're like, look, and then apocalyptic, which was, that can work because of this. And then the fact that it sounds like Pickwick. So there's an alliteration like, that was all of us at the same time, just like.
I think the one about throw me off the scent and a diaper full of criminal intent. I think
intent.
That still makes me laugh. So
I like a forensic pediatrician. I'll complete this inquisition. I will
name the neonatal. We love this same run. I will name the neonatal from the cradle that proved fatal. I will name the perpetrator
that did murder to their mater.
To the mater.
Oh wait. Here's a real bone to pick. This is what nerds we all are. So the performance comes out and the captions, auto captions, you can read it. And someone at Hulu changed mater, meaning mother, to maker, which makes sense. Your mother, your character, whatever. And no one in the world will notice this, but our group thread is like, it's not a perfect rhyme. We need
perpetrator. rhymes with mater.
Perpetrator, mater, not maker. So literally, our group text is like on fire. We're like, oh my
We
god,
have to change. We have to get this
we need to
changed.
contact the head of Hulu. And which and
Call
everyone's like,
Google. Yeah.
yeah, everyone's like, no one cares. We promise you. But we care because we care about perfect rhyme, and it was a dramatic day in for a good 24 hours until we just decided to let it go. But yeah, I also
let the record show. Let the record show.
I like coochie coochie coo. Time for you or you or you. I like.
Well, thank you all for your perfect rhymes. It's an incredible number. And I'm so
now
glad
we
you
just
all
sit
were
here
able
and wait till they say they're going to move it to Broadway. So we'll
Yes, we'll get more. This is the team to do it.
I choose you, Scott Wittman.
Thank you all so much for joining me. It has been a pleasure as always.
Thank
you,
Good
Sam.
Thank you. Good to see you, Sam.